Welcome to the Stretch2Go Podcast. My name is Ian Ray, and today I have Joshua Sibley from Whitley, Ontario, Canada. Joshua, welcome to the Stretch2Go Podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So I would love to have the audience learn more about what you do as an osteopath and how you even fell into doing this type of work. So go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. So American osteopath is so much different from Canadian. So we call ourselves manual osteopaths since we only work with the body. And it works hand in hand with Fascial Stretch Therapy, right? Now, getting into all this, I discovered Fascial Stretch Therapy later on, but it started out with manual osteopathy in the sense of, I don't know, I just wanted to work in helping people in a kind of like an alternative therapy sense of rather than medications, right?
Sure.
So every day before my dad would go to work, I would crack his back and I'd basically just copy the chiropractor, what he would do. And I got really good at it. I've been doing that ever since I was like 8 years old. Yeah. So you get into these patterns, you get into these routines, right? And you realize, wow, I'm doing this every single day. It gets my dad through the day. But why does that tension come back, right? Why I'm almost like creating a routine for his body. By the time that day ends, from the morning to the next, it's like, why is that body coming back, right? It's like, there's something more than the bones here, right? So that got me thinking. And then later on, just working and doing all these things at a customer's house, learned about osteopathy. And I never heard about it before. And it kind of caught my attention because it was more gentle. It was more kind of for the nervous system, right? And more of like a settling for the body. I'm like, I just signed up. I trust his word. And all he said was, my osteopath is the osteopath for Tiger Woods. I'm like, all right, Tiger Woods is letting anybody work on his body. I'm in, Yeah. So I was in my osteopathy course. I saw this guy doing these like kung fu movements on the table. I'm like, this is cool. This is like right up my alley. What is this? I'm like, this guy's going to be like the top in the world if he's created this. I'm like, that's when I started seeing like he's wearing this like FST shirt and doing all this like cool stuff. I'm like, I gotta get in on this. So I kind of just let it be for a few years. And I'm like, I'll do it eventually, right? And then the boss at my clinic here, she encouraged me to take the course, so I did. And I'm like, all right, let's do this. And it hasn't even been a year yet. I got into it last March, right? And hasn't been too long, but it's right up the alley for, getting things rolling. I really like it.
That's cool, man. So I know you do martial arts, some type of martial arts, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. I think I've seen some videos of you practicing, so rolling around and whatnot. So, that's interesting that, cause I've heard of people, especially with, Chris Frederick, his background on Tai Chi and Qigong, like a lot of his, movements that they do, like it kind of translates right on the table as far as that fluid, like movement patterns and whatnot. So, I'm always interested of how people see FST, not just an assisted stretching, but like it is more of a dance. It's, you create your own movement in that flow because it's like, I guess what Anne says is like you moving with the body, and that's the cool part about FST and how it differentiates with other stretch therapy is just, you really have to be in tune with that person on the table, on the body and how it's feeling at that time. So yeah, man. So you found that Stretch2Win. What year was it when you saw that guy wearing his FST? And
Oh, it was right during COVID, probably 2022.
okay.
Yeah, or somewhere around then. Yeah, it was around that time. So, I mean, it hasn't been too long, but it's been long enough where I've been waiting to do it, right?
Did you have any initial thoughts about enrolling to the course? But you had a lot. It seems like you have a lot of support from your boss there that you should apply. Enroll to this course. So did you have any hesitancy like yourself? Like I didn't know, but you tell me. Or were you already sold?
I was already sold. I had no hesitancy. It was just like in a matter of when the timing worked, right? That was it. And the timing lined up, and it was just like, all right, this is just like the golden time. I just went for it. And then 2 months after, I went to the second level in May. So I did the first level in March, and then a few months later, I went to the one in May. I'm like, all right, and then I realized I'm getting ahead of myself here. I need to slow down. I was about to do level 3 just like in December. I'm like, no, I gotta wait.
Yeah. Was there a big difference, a stark difference between level 1 and level 2 for you personally?
Okay, being a manual osteopath, there wasn't too much of a leap because during the level 1, it was all movements, right? You're getting the movements. Level 2 is about more so treating, right? I'm really good at treating. It kind of just came naturally. I'm like, I was more so just practicing the level 1 movements again, and then just working on the treating, like as I picked up the movements, because I haven't perfected the movements yet. It's only been a few months.
Yeah, that's like a fire hose in your mouth, just like going from back to back.
Right. And being in the course, it's like very exhausting. It's awesome. It's fun. It's great, but it's exhausting, you know? It's exhausting.
Yeah. Have you, I guess, who is your typical demographic or population that you typically treat there in your clinic?
Everyone for FST, everyone from 12 years old to I think the oldest has been in their 70s, right? Because we can work so gently. So if I'm working with a 12-year-old, it's like, being yourself in the stretch game, it's like, okay, it's not like conventional stretching. It's so gentle, right? Or it can be depending on who you're working with. If it's going to be athletes, of course, you're going to be working more with the PNF and all this stuff, and it's going to be more rigorous. But when we're working with kids or we're working with, the elderly, it's going to be like more like gentle based, right? And even when we're doing like the PNF, or as osteopaths, we call it muscle energy techniques, we're allowing just like that, it doesn't have to be much. It can be kind of like just enough pressure where they're just kind of like doing that little bit of resistance. And then the stretch where it's, for them, to contribute for their needs, not necessarily, they're not like going to be athletes, right? But just trying to get a little more range to support their joint health and all that.
Have you found any like wins or success stories of clients who have been treated through FST?
Yes, for sure. Okay, so the top one so far is kind of different, right? So she had been recovering from a stroke, right? So one side of her body, like, is just, you can't feel because it's like the right side comparing to the left side. One side of the brain was just off, and then the other side of the body was just off. So technically, when those nerves are fried, they're fried, right? But there's something miraculous that happens when we bring movement and we bring like life back to where the muscle, because even though, technically the nerves are fried, doesn't mean, they're completely gone in a sense. We don't really have enough evidence to prove what's actually happening in the body, because why are those muscles constricting when those nerves are supposedly not non-existent any to the where they once were? So if those muscles are constricting and they're tight and they're just not letting go, something is happening with the nerves. Something is happening that is preventing that release from happening. So what I've been doing is orchestrating movement, kind of like being that person's eyes and ears on this side. And then I've been relating to the other side. I'm like, okay, see how this feels? We can feel it. Now we're going to do it on the other side where you can't feel it, but you can kind of visualize it. And that visualization process is something, we fascial stretch therapists are amazing at, because we have to visualize those fascial nets, right?
Sure.
And it's like something I always reflect on, right? Because it's like, sorry, it's like, I kind of like remember these like, scriptures going through my head. So it's like, okay, it has nothing to do with, this is like totally out of proportion for like, I'm using kind of like
This tell.
so blessed are those who do not see yet still believe, right?
Mhm.
So in this sense, if we're looking at in fashion then perspective, we can't see the fascia system unless
Yeah,
we like cut
dissect it.
ourselves open, right? But that's not natural. We don't naturally, you're not supposed to see the inside of the body. It's what's on the out, right?
Mhm.
So we have to believe in ourselves. And there's so many people that don't believe in themselves. And that's like one of the biggest things that I'm kind of like amazed at, of realizing, wow, this person, you know, they don't believe in themselves to the point where they can actually get better. And I'm like, why don't you believe in stretch? Like, why don't you believe in movement? You
Mhm.
know? Mm. So it's kind of like a sad thing, right? It's like, no, there's no need for like seeing people get replacements, shoulder replacements, all these things when they just have pain. No, their body's telling you something, right? If it's not like a severe case, then don't just casually go to get surgery. This is a problem, and it's such a sad thing to see, because you're putting something like not natural into your body just because of a pain. Now, I know that's easy for me to say because I don't deal with that extremely hard things. And I know there's like people that need those hip replacements because, they're working 16-hour days in construction and their hips just not going anymore. But for the amount, if we look at the body, if we truly want to look at yoga, right? The word yoga, it means to connect with our body, right? So if we don't connect with ourselves, and if we don't listen to that pain is a blessing. It's like a baby comes out of the womb that comes with extreme pain, but it's also an amazing blessing.
Yeah.
So we have to not criminalize pain. And the moment we stop criminalizing pain, tension is freed, and then we can start to heal, right? So as long as we don't criminalize the pain that we're dealing with in our everyday, then we can start to listen to that and start to dive in deep. We need to compensate for those hours work or self-care, right?
Sure.
Whether that means yoga, your hot baths, your cool plunges, whatever works for you, your walks, whatever works for your lifestyle, then you got to do what you got to do to service your body, right? Every car's got a different service point.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel it's just me being in the FST space, but I feel every person, whether if it's chronic or not, should try the alternative method before going into Western medicine. Because, I mean, you think about it, Western medicine probably hasn't been around longer than alternative. I mean, yoga, there's so many different modalities that's been around for centuries. People have been doing cupping for centuries. People have been doing acupuncture for centuries. So there are ways to alleviate, I guess, pain, to help with that for those who are in pain, rather than going straight to painkillers, cortisone shots, like say surgeries. It's something that people should look at first before going to the deep extreme of modern medicine. But I'm glad that you have that idea and, of course, philosophy of helping people help feel where their pains are. Because like you said, people probably don't think about it as much of like where it's located, and like they don't trust their bodies, like you were saying. And probably it just kind of shows to them that, that's the first thing that they go to, is someone to take care of them, rather than how can I take care of myself first, and then I can get, assistance elsewhere.
Yeah.
When you're talking with your clients, people who are coming into getting, FSD treatment, do you have to explain the word fascia? And like, do you have an analogy that you give people? This is what I do. This is how I can help heal you through FSD.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I'm still trying to figure out how to describe, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. It's hard because we can be like, all right, it's that connective tissue, it's that webbing that surrounds the body. It holds everything together. We can talk about, it's kind of like a tailor, right? A tailor would like fit your suit to or your dress to your body. And it's like, now that is like for you, right? But what I started doing now is thinking about lifestyle. And it's like your fascial system is your lifestyle. And if we look at it in that way, we look at posture, right? Okay, how does your posture is directly reflected to how you live your life. So if we, right? So what holds the posture? The fascial system. And what supports that posture? The muscles, the nerves, everything that aligns into that position, the tendons, everything will conform to that position, but it's all together and supported by that fascial layer, right? So that's what I kind of been looking at. And like, it's not necessarily, you got, the posture may be not the best for that person, but we can't force a position, right? I can help you assist, what you're dealing with, your pain, your this and that, but the pain is not going to go away unless that person puts in the effort to actually, conventionally work out their alignments throughout their day and their shoulders, bring your shoulders back, and just simply by engaging your core, bringing your chest out can leave so much stress and so much that, restricting tension that fascial system is dealing with. Oh. That's what I kind of say, I guess, as your posture, your fascial system is your lifestyle. I don't know. I'll probably be saying,
It's true. I mean, like I guess the more repetitive it is for me, and how I kind of tell people is like, I can treat you for 60, 30 minutes on a table, but what are you doing afterwards? Like, are you going to go back to your old habits? Or are you changing those? Or are you adjusting it so that your body is, not overcompensating or fixing itself of those, whether if it's mechanically, if they're going to the gym, or if they're not, recovering well. So I always try to think for them, I'm here to help you here, but I'm also have to guide you along the path of not just week to week, but your lifestyle changes. So like you're saying, that posture, it can be corrected. It's what are you doing mentally to help you fix it? And whether if it's sitting on a yoga, one of those big balls, those bouncy balls, the yoga balls, or if you sit down and stand up frequently, or sitting on the floor to do those. I mean, I'm a huge proponent of people not being sedentary on a chair, because we are a sedentary lifestyle of chairs in the car, on the couch. There's so much waste that we are sitting that can affect the hips, especially, it shortens tissues.
Yeah, man, you're like right up the alley. You know what? The thing is, there's a lot of FST practitioners or a lot of like stretchers, but they don't have, a lot of them just, go for the movements and they forget about the whole other side of things, right? It's like, no, we shouldn't be stretching people for our own satisfaction. It's for the person, right? It's for meeting them and their needs. We're facilitators. So, that's cool.
I guess another question for you is, I guess for those, in your clinic, how do you offer FST? Is it already kind of something like people already know that they want to get FST, or is it like brought to you, referred to you? Because I don't know how your clinic works as far as like passing along clients, or if you have to go out and, offer your services. How does that work there?
Yeah. All right. So I was actually like surprised, because apparently people were like calling in about, asking for fascial stretch therapy. And then that's why my boss encouraged me to go get the certification, because there was a demand for it. I'm like, there's a demand for it. I didn't even know like people knew about this thing. So, it kind of organically just showed up to the clinic, and now I just orchestrated every single treatment. I'm not kidding. Like, with every single osteopathic treatment, there's some type of fascial stretch therapy that I do. And then the person's like, what is that, what is that you do? It's like, it feels like a mobilization, but it's more of like, I'm focusing on that fascial system, right?
That's cool. How long was schooling for osteopath? Is it 4 years?
Well, all right. So there's so many schools in Canada. It's like, don't get me started. But for mine, it was 2 years. It's like condensed program, and I just kind of just put it all together and just got it done, right? But yeah, and then I did like I don't even know. I booked like private training sessions with my teachers afterwards, like repetitively to get as much training as I could, taking cranial sacral courses,
Mm.
doing all that stuff, you know. There's so many like open-endedness with like the manual therapy fields that we can work with, right?
Uh, so I guess my question to you, I don't know, like, what's the difference of the osteopath in Canada and like what you know of osteopaths here in US? Like, is there big difference or is there small difference as far as like,
Yeah, I guess
yeah, as far as like treatment or like education wise? I don't know.
main difference, right, is medications, right? You guys over there can prescribe, you guys over there are doctors, with medications. Over here, we just work with our hands, which is cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
But over there, your doctors with, medications along with the manual therapy, which is really cool.
So is that what's your long-term goal? I mean, do you want to continue to expand like your services or like your skill set as an osteopath? Or yeah, I guess what's your long-term goals for yourself?
Yeah, long-term goals and focusing on, you know, I want to, like, everyone has a different area where they can work with their body, right? I just want to focus on movement and seeing, improving lifestyle, that type thing. I think just like doing anything and everything like that. You got like all your gymnastica natural, you got your animal flow, you got your primal movements, you got all these movements. Your body can only move so many ways at the end of the day, right? It's like, so you just move, right? You move and your lymphatic system drains and a recycling system naturally occurs. Your body starts to naturally heal. We're just naturally wired to relieve stress and relieve stress through movement. I mean, we shouldn't have to exercise. We should be gathering, you know, food, and then we should be like reinforcing our village. This is like, that was natural, movements that just encompassed body, natural power and strength. But now we don't live that way. So we got to go to the gym. We gotta, go to yoga classes. We got to do all these things to build up our body, to relieve stress, and then to really hone in, focalize, to compensate for what we don't have now. And that's like, that tribal era.
How do you see fascia stretch therapy evolving in the future?
I think, I really hope one day it'll be covered by insurance. That's what I hope.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not impossible, right? I think that'd be a really good goal to have. Just, I mean, at the end of the day, if someone really wants something, they'll pay you with it cash, right? And I think respect is shown in that improvement of self-care. Like, so sometimes, for just using insurance, you use up your insurance and then you call it a day. But, if you really truly want to respect yourself, you're going to make time for yourself and you're going to organize and meet your needs to yourself. So, just like someone will go out and buy like really nice clothes or like really nice shoes. But I'm like, you could have just bought like, 3 fascial stretch therapy sessions, right? So at the end of the day, you can't give me your BS. You can't afford, a $120 session or 150 or even $200. No, those are excuses. Everyone can afford that if they want to do that. You just got to make the time. You got to meet your needs. You got to realize you actually care about yourself. Not, 99% of the population doesn't actually care about themselves to the extent that they should. To the, we gotta really hone in to our demographics here and just like treat and focus on that self-care. And like, we've really gotta, why do we want to relieve this stress? Why do we want to improve our mobility and get into that core deep center of, wow, I wanna be like happy, right? Did I just see fireworks go off in the background there?
Dude, I know. I saw that. I saw that too. And I was like, that was the energy just flowing out, man. That's a first for
Jeez.
me.
Oh my goodness.
It's that chi power.
Jeez.
I guess another question for you is, I guess more on the business side, but like for you, how do you typically market or like, I guess, strategize? What's the most effective or, marketing tactics that you found to be most effective in attracting new clients? I know you work at a clinic, but do you also do like out calls or like, things on the side, finding new clients? Yeah. What's been the best for you?
All right. So pretty much Instagram. It's like posting on Instagram. And yes, like I've like, talked to people and then somehow like that word of mouth, like really focalizing on word of mouth. And it's mainly referrals, really. Referrals and Instagram. Somehow, I don't know how people see it on Instagram. I just like, tag Whitney downtown shopping district and like do all this stuff and people see it. Once you just flutter all your posts through your area, people are going to see it, right? Yeah. And I guess kind of just staying in your kind of lane, I don't compete with the competitiveness of, the personal trainers. There's just so much fascial stretch therapy within the gyms. So I just focalize on general pain management, tension, self-care, that type thing. And I realize, you get a different demographic. You get so many other people that don't have anywhere else to go. And I think if you just stay true to yourself, you'll have those people come to you, right? Because you're not trying to chase for anything. You're just in.
Yeah, no, that's true. Especially if you're in this for the long game, like you want to be able to work with people who either align with your values or who you'd like to, help out. I think one of my business coaches was telling me, like, you want to be able to find people that you don't mind spending time and giving you energy. If people are like sucking out the life out of you during sessions, probably not the type of people that you wanted. And so for myself, I've kind of attracted and visualized people that I can give energy, but also receive back and kind of create that positive environment rather than them coming in, draining the energy out of my studio and myself. And, it's because physically it's one thing, but then emotionally that's another thing too, is I don't want to be them to just drain it out where I can't provide the necessary service for them, to my next client. So I think it's important that you attract or you try to find people who you want to treat rather than everyone and anyone. So, because there is a lot of people who could benefit from it, but there's only so many hours in a day that you can treat people. So you might as well try to get the best.
Sure. Yeah.
And then I guess my last question for you is like, what are some misconceptions that you found about osteopaths that people probably like think of like, oh, this is what an osteopath does. This is what he probably could help me with. But have you ever found some myths or misconceptions of what an osteopath does or can help people with?
Misconceptions honestly, it's not so much a misconception, but everyone who comes in, no one knows what manual osteopathy is. Literally, they're like, it's something in between chiropractic and massage. There's this middle road. That's the only explanation I got. Everybody thinks the same thing. And you know what? It's kind of not too far from the truth, right? We're in the middle. We're not forceful and we're not kind of moving like this. How I view it is, okay, we know because it's not well known enough. Manual osteo, mostly everyone who comes in thinks it's like, okay, it's my last resort. I've tried everything else. That's the normal word I get. So I guess the main misconception it's that it's kind of like the greatest conception of misconceptions, which nobody really knows what it is. So when I'm talking about the organs, they're like, wait, what? Yeah, that's kind of weird. Why are you talking about the organs? I'm like, well, it's like kind of one of the things that differentiates from manual osteopathy from other therapies. But I really, 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 really like fascial stretch therapy because it works, as manual osteopaths, we learned a lot about the visceral system and going into the organs and doing those releases. And it's not forcing a release. It's like a nickel worth of pressure. And we're just kind of diving in and then relieving some of that stress, relieving some of that tension. promoting the fluids to flow, working on the spine, promoting that cerebral spinal fluid to flow. As we're working through the neck, we're relieving the sacrum, or as we're relieving the sacrum, we're relieving headaches, right? But through so light of pressure, because we're not doing necessarily anything at all. We're just allowing the person, we're showing an actualization in that specific zone that allows essentially that energy to move and to release the body, to realize, neurologically, that muscle brain connection, that wiring, whatever miraculous thing is happening in the body, it's releasing. You can call it chi, you can call it prana, you can call it your life force energy, you can call it your nerves or whatever. I don't know what it is, but your body's releasing. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, when we're working with the fascial system, when we're doing like true FST, we're working with a person's nervous system, just as we learned, right? And we're relieving these fascial layers. And as that fascial system relieves, those organs are relieving, because a lot of the back pain is all from the organs. So when we relieve all that tension from the fascial system, nerve system focus, all that organ tension releases, and because they're all held together by the fascial system. And when the fascial system releases, the organs releases, and prevents the digestion and everything, while the back pain leaves, because all that releases, the breath starts to open up, the diaphragm becomes in alignment with the layers of the body, and then everything starts to rest. And then that's where you find that peace, right? Kind of like a rooting, that grounding, Yeah.
That's crazy, man. See, that's something I've never heard of. So to be quite frank, I mean, I don't know many osteopaths at all. So this is a very intriguing conversation to have, because it's like, I didn't know what you guys do. And so it's great. I think more people should probably, book a session with you, which that leads me to ending my podcast. But I would love for you, so that people who are listening can find out a little bit more about what you do. And of course, maybe book a session so they can understand how it can help them in their journey to healing. So if you don't mind sharing, social media handle, your website, email, phone, or any way to book a session, even your location. So go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so downtown Whitby, Osteogeny Wellness Hub. If you type in Osteogeny Wellness Hub, you'll get the website. It'll pop up, and you can just book me under Osteopathy, right? And we can work with the Fascial Stretch Therapy as well. But if you want to book Fascial Stretch Therapy separately, then definitely do that too. Aside from that, if you're in like downtown Toronto, all that stuff, sometimes I go down there, set the table that I used to do window cleaning for, and that, and set up. And so even like Toronto wise, or all the way out past Coburg, if you're like, no Toronto and that, Coburg way, 2 hours east of Toronto, go do some stuff there sometimes, but mainly Whitby, Osteogeny Wellness Hub. Catch me there, and the Instagram handle is Osteo Joshua.
That's good. Well, thanks, Joshua, for hopping onto my podcast. Greatly appreciate your knowledge and your passion and helping people through osteopathy, manual osteopathy. For those of you who are listening, please don't forget to like, subscribe, follow the Stretch2Go Podcast. We release new episodes every Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern. And also, if you are wanting to include fascia stretch therapy into your scope of practice, or the way that, if you want to have a change of career or whatnot, please go to stretch2go.com. You can find a practitioner near you, or you can go and enroll into a course like Joshua and I have, and kind of go from there. It's a great modality, great community, I think. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of you and growing your practice. And yeah, man, thanks again.
Well, hey man, if I'm ever doing a road trip down to Arizona, we can pass by your way and work on some, do some FST.
Oh, I'm down for that.
All right. Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Joshua. See you later.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks, man. See you.